my parents, intentionally never sat down with me and, had these honest conversations. I could sense it from my mum, not unhappiness, she was just always worried for me. All the time, women would come up to my mum, quite dramatic as well, as, some Asian women can be. They'd never seen someone with a disability, and they used to really feel sorry for me and for my mum. And there's a lot of pity, like, oh my God, what's happened to her? And as a child, you feel it, don't you? You suppress those emotions. I never release those emotions. When you say, do you feel society has accepted you now? And the honest truth is, I've realised, I've come to realize, it's not about other people. It's about me accepting myself. And until I don't fully love myself, accept myself, that is the key to it.
Hi everybody, it's Rani from Chit Chat Chai. Welcome to the show. Today's show is about a powerhouse of people being differently able, fitting in society, how society looks at you, how you feel comfortable in society. Our guest today is an amazing, amazing powerhouse of everything. She's been through all different stages of life. How she fitted into society was an amazing, journey for her. I'd like to introduce you to my guest, who's CHARANJIT. Welcome to the show, CHARANJIT.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
No, it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, we met a few years ago, and what I want to know from yourself is, how do you feel like, being differently able? How do you discuss these things with society, with family? Let's start off from when you were younger, about your family, how they accepted it. Did they speak about it openly? Did they let your other siblings know, or your other family members? Like, I know, being from the South Asian community, they do keep these issues quiet, and they don't discuss it with people because people are too busy trying to make society feel that, it's all about society. They don't care that how our kids are feeling, or how emotional we get. They don't talk about it behind closed doors. So tell me about your journey.
Yes, so from the start of my journey, I was born with an underdeveloped arm.
Sure.
So my parents never knew at the time. My mum never had a scan, so it was a complete shock to their system. And I think, like you said, did my parents ever have that conversation with me and sit me down ever? I never remember actually having that one conversation with them. I think what I remember of it was that in the shock of everything, they were still navigating their own journey and coming to terms with, having a daughter with a disability. And like you said, with society and the Asian culture, there is a lot of stigma around people born with disabilities, and especially at that time, because we're talking nearly 40 years ago, right? Things have changed a little bit more now in terms of how we can speak about it so openly. But back then, I wouldn't say it was a case that my parents, intentionally never sat down with me and, had these honest conversations. I just think the way they were brought up is that with their own parents, emotions and mental health and, having these honest conversations was something that was never done. So it was almost like they were thrown into the deep end and I was thrown into the deep end, and I could sense that from a very young age.
Sure.
I could sense it from my mum. Not unhappiness, she was just always worried for me. And
did they ever discuss how you were feeling, how your mental health was?
I never remember, like I said, I don't recall a conversation ever about specifically, like, let's sit down and check in with you. I just think from a very young age, I took it upon myself to go into that strong, resilient mindset of, I never wanted them to feel that I was any different from anyone else.
Okay.
So the honest truth is, they never knew how I was really feeling. I didn't even know how I was feeling until I spoke up about it only a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't expect them to have known, because the way I was as a child, I just got on well. I got on with things. And I just tried to fit in, create less noise. I didn't want to give my mum extra stress. I knew she was always worried about me.
Yeah. So what about siblings? Did you have support from siblings and family members?
So with my siblings, especially more so with my sister, growing up, I did turn to her a lot. Not about my arms so much, but it came out in other ways. My lack of self-esteem, my body confidence. So she was almost like a role model to me.
She's older than you.
She's older than me, she's 4 years older than me. So she was that role model, and I wanted to look like everyone else. I knew I didn't look like everyone else. So when she was going on this health journey, I said, oh, I need to lose weight. Even though I was perfectly, you know, quite fine in the way I looked and I was healthy, but the lack of self-esteem was coming out in other ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Your emotions were coming out in
Yes.
different ways. Okay, and then so how did you get over that?
So in terms of school, I was really lucky that I never got bullied.
Oh, that's really
I was
good.
really thankful.
Because going back 40 years, like people don't know about it, like how openly we can speak about it now, how you got diversity, you got inclusion, they talk about it openly now, but in them days people used to hide it. Yeah, so tell me.
Because I was the only one, I believe, in my school that, you know, had a disability. And I used to see other children get bullied for other things. And I always used to sit there and think, you know, I was so grateful that that never happened to me. Because if that did, I think that would have really affected my confidence even more than it already was. Growing up, I was almost still in a bubble, okay? You know, I don't even remember the first time looking at myself thinking, oh, you know, I'm different to everyone else. I was okay up until probably early teens, okay? Because that's when you start paying attention to your image and, you know, you start taking an interest in the opposite sex, and that's when I think it started to slowly creep in, and I started covering up. So definitely by the time I got to secondary school, I'd say that was the change. I went from a quite happy-go-lucky girl, used to wear what I wanted to wear, not really too conscious, aware that I was different, but didn't really let it affect me too much. But when I got to secondary school, it was almost like something clicked, you know, a light bulb switched, and I started being more conscious, started covering up. Summers came, you know when you do PE? And everyone was wearing the short sleeve tops, I was wearing thick jumpers. And I was so embarrassed inside. I was, because I was, you know, it was hot, I was getting sweaty, but I refused to wear short sleeve tops. So that's really when my confidence dropped to another level, when I started covering up. Fast forward a few more years, as I got to about 16, you know this about me already, that I developed an eating disorder. Because I think it got to that point where I knew I couldn't control that I was born with, you know, an underdeveloped arm. But one of my aunts made a comment, and, you know, I was getting to the age when they are thinking about marriage. You know, that was drummed into me also from, again, quite a young age. So an aunt made a comment to me, she was probably just joking, but I took it upon myself that, oh, maybe I'm a little bit heavier than I need to be. And it was almost that one comment that changed the next few years for me. I, you know, then developed an unhealthy relationship with food, and I become really unhealthy and skinny. And I loved it, because suddenly people were not coming up to me. You know, when I used to go to the temple, it was always older women, and we'll talk about that after. But the attention shifted from my arm to my weight, like, you're so skinny. You know, Asian women love that. And I was thriving in it.
Okay, and then so how did you feel when it came to the fact that it was time to get on in life, meet a partner? Was it hard to find someone? Were you judged? Like, you know how Indian people are, like, oh, you know, theek nahi hegi, or, you know, I mean, you can speak Punjabi if you want to, but you know, it's like, oh, did you ever feel that they felt sorry for you, that you were getting rich there just for the sake, because of what you're, you know, what you're going through? or did you find that it was quite open? Or did you, I don't know if you had an arranged marriage or if you had a love marriage, if you're happy to
Yeah, I'm
discuss
happy
it,
to
yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah.
So growing up, my parents were very religious and we spent a lot of time going to the Gurdwara every Sunday. So I was brought up in that environment. But yeah, it was very difficult because, you know, all the time women would come up to my mum. I remember this a lot. You know, quite dramatic as well, as, you know, some Asian women can be. They'd never seen someone with a disability. And they used to really feel sorry for me and for my mum.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pity. Like, oh my God, what's happened to her?
Yeah.
And as a child, you feel it, don't you?
Yeah,
You suppress those emotions. I never released those emotions.
Okay.
Like
you said, your parents didn't speak to you about it, so that's probably why it's bottled up so much. Because it took you a long time to get over it, didn't it?
I would never have had those conversations at that time because I was just too focused on trying to hold it together. So I can see why I suppressed it. But it really did trigger me. And, you know, I will speak about something that happened recently, and that's why I know how much of this stuff's triggered me. But at that time, I never realised. But that was it. It was a lot of women always coming up to my mum or whoever I'd meet, even outside of that environment, the Gurdwara, when I used to just, you know, day-to-day life, being on the trains, being out in public, young children, a lot of people just stare at me, you know, on the trains. I used to...
Because you refused to cover it, didn't you?
Well, yes, initially.
Was that out of choice or because you didn't feel comfortable wearing?
Right. So again, I know we're going back and forth, but going back to that time when I was getting to that age of, you know, parents were talking about rishta. It was actually a family member who, you know, she was really trying to support me. She said, "Why don't you get a prosthetic arm?" She said that way everything will look quite symmetrical, your clothes will fit better, because obviously clothes are not designed for people like me. Everything just used to hang. So my parents, when I was younger, did try to get me prosthetic arm, but as a young child, I said, I don't want this. It's really heavy. So at about I think I was about 16, I revisited it, went to the hospital, they made me an arm, a really heavy plastic arm. And initially, I hated wearing it, even at 16. But then I became really dependent on it, to the point that I wouldn't let anyone see me without my arm. I wouldn't leave the house without my arm. It gave me a full sense of security, a full sense of confidence. So I thought I was confident because I was wearing this arm, and initially people were not staring at me, and I thought, this is great, I'm just like everyone else. But then I soon started realising that afterwards, because it's plastic, it would rip, and then people would still stare at me. And then then it got to the point where I was sitting on trains. I remember a few times people would say, "Did you burn your arm?" Because it was plastic. "Are you wearing a plastic cover?" And then I just used to get so frustrated because I thought, I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to look like everyone else, but I'm still not good enough because people are still now asking me now what's wrong for different reasons. I felt like I wasn't winning either way.
So you every time you took 10 steps forward, you'd go 5 steps back. Okay.
Because I was so desperate to fit in and look like everyone else.
So back to the wrist there.
Okay. So that was a difficult time for me because I saw all my cousins and my sister. They had a lot, you know, they had rishta come into them. And you know, Rani, the thing with rishta is it's not actually the son who makes that decision. The rishta is actually between the parents, isn't it?
Of course, it is.
You good enough?
You marry the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was such a big barrier for me because I was almost being pre-qualified by, you know, that older type generation who didn't understand me, who probably took one look and thought, well, you know, she's got a disability.
So did your parents feel comfortable talking about your disability? What, like if somebody came over for a rishta, would they have already told the family beforehand? Or did the families have that, was that the first time they saw you like that?
My mum used to, cause she was a big part of the Gurdwara. She was a really big, pivotal part. She knew a lot of people and she used to help other people get rishta. So I know behind the scenes who she was trying, of course she was. She didn't really tell me because she really didn't want to upset me. I know there was a few people, family, friends, she said, I have spoken to them, but she was just like going now. But in my heart, it used to make me feel sad. Not so much for myself, but it made me sad for my mum because she was just, you know, she probably felt an element of guilt somewhere along the lines that, you know, my daughter, poor thing. Is she going to get a rishta? Is she not? And I think it got to that point where she said, Jan, let's just call me Jan. I found someone from India for you. Yeah. Okay. And I remember being at a wedding. And she was like, here he is, let's have a conversation. It still makes me so emotional thinking about this moment, because I had this conversation with this gentleman from India, and there's no disrespect to him, but I can't explain to you how little I felt in that moment, because I just thought, no, I'm just like everyone else. And that was,
like you felt sorry for you.
Yeah, because that's what it felt like, isn't it? I felt like I was that damaged goods, that, I wasn't good enough for anyone, and that's, like I said, not there's anything wrong. There's plenty of people who have rishta from India, and it works. Yeah. But for me, I just thought, no. There was a voice telling me, you're better than that. I want to find someone that accepts me for me. Yeah. So fast forward, I did end up, going on dating apps and finding someone myself through a dating app.
So you found someone yourself, not through the good one?
I didn't do it for the,
And how was his family towards you?
They were absolutely fine with it. Yeah, they were.
Oh, that's nice. And you have 2 sons. How have they supported you through this?
So it's been a difficult one, Rani, because with my children, that was one of the changing points for me, is once you become a mum and I'm still wearing this heavy prosthetic arm, I couldn't manage things. I couldn't. How could I lift my child? How could I? And that's when I started detaching from the prosthetic arm, because I went into mum mode, and I stopped wearing the arm, and slowly, not all the time, but definitely at home. Yeah. The thing is, my children, especially the oldest son, he did know that I used to wear this hand, and I thought, this is not sending out the right message, because this is showing my son that I'm not really accepting who I am. I'm covering up, and I thought, what kind of message is that is sending out for a child? The question is, you asked me, do they accept me? The youngest son, he's 8, 100% doesn't care about, not even aware of disabilities. We talk about disabilities a lot. I love it. They have such.
I was just going to ask you that next question.
They have such a great awareness. I love it so much.
Because there's so much in school today. They want to, they want kids who have got disabilities or Down syndrome or any type of learning difficulty, ADHD. It's so openly spoken about now. And I'm on about how you must have felt 40 years ago.
Right?
Because everyone used to say, oh, koi gal nahi, leave her at home, she's fine. But why? Why leave her at home? I mean, I have an autistic niece, and it was so difficult. Like, my sister finds it difficult. Oh, I don't want to take her, she gets upset, she wants. I said, no, you need to bring her out. You need to include her in everything. Now she goes to parties before us. She loves it, and she's got this gift. Every child has a gift, whether it's something they speak about, whether they draw something. So like you said, it's so good that you have this conversation with your children. Generally, they didn't talk to you about it, because like you said, Indian people don't talk about it. They don't talk about it to the kids, or they take you to the doctors. Yeah. In them days, parents didn't actually talk about kids or their illnesses or their disabilities or whatever they wanted. So tell me about the journey of your son. So your younger one accepts you.
Yeah, he's great. And when he sees the people with disabilities, they're so empathetic. I love that about my children so much. Yeah. They'll say to me, especially the eldest, will say, Mama, I helped this friend at school, he's got a disability. They're really great like that. Yeah. And it makes me so happy. The eldest one is in a different, he's in a difficult time, I'd say. He's going to secondary school. He's now becoming more aware of image, what friends say, okay? So 2 years, and my journey is quite recent, Rani, isn't it? Because I only started fully accepting my arm. It's been about maybe two to three years ago. Yeah. So up until 2 to 3 years ago, I got rid of the prosthetic arm after having, therapy. It's been so liberating to actually come out. Like even today, I was on the train, and I love these moments where I sit and say to myself, just look at you, just stop and be still in the moment. Because I remember countless train journeys where I used to cover up and think, who's looking at me? And now I can sit on the train and I'm in my own world and I'm so happy. But going back to my son, and it was a shock to him, okay? Because 2 years ago, I've suddenly started picking them up from school wearing short sleeve tops. So I was in that stage of my journey. And I'm like, look at me. that was very hard for him initially to accept. And we had conversations because he kept saying to me, "Mum, cover up," or just very subtly, "Put the cardigan there." And I remember that was really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm worried about him because I don't want him to feel embarrassed or his friends to start bullying him. But then I'm on this journey. We were in two different journeys.
Of course.
And I'm still learning and I'm still navigating it, because every summer that comes, you know, just when I feel like I've turned a corner, then obviously it's not really hot in this country and you feel like, yes, he's fine. It's been great weather this week. So 2 days ago, I went to pick him up and I put a short sleeve top on and I saw his face again and he said, "Mum, just stand over there," and I just thought, oh gosh, we're back there again. So it might just be the case. I'm still learning.
Has he spoken to you about it?
He does, he does.
Has he spoken?
He does say, last summer, you know, Mum's scared that I'm protecting you. He feels like he's protecting me in case someone else says something to him.
Yeah. And then he has to stick up for you, right?
It's hard for him, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So I don't know, Rani, is the honest answer. I'm learning on the job.
Yeah.
I really am.
Have you thought about getting him some kind of therapy? You know, because obviously you're going through your journey and he probably needs some kind of support. It is
He does
true.
have, my son does actually have support from the school.
Yeah.
He's had a little bit of therapy. I don't know if he's ever, because it's quite private, if he's, you know, spoke about these things, but we speak about it a lot. He's listened to some more podcasts. He knows my journey. So I think as I keep growing and keep loving myself, I think it will come naturally. I do. I really do.
I will, and obviously he's at that age where he's transitioning. He's turning from a little kid to an adult now.
Impressionable at stage.
It is.
He'll figure it out, I feel. You know?
And with an older boy, I mean, he's what, 10?
Yeah.
He probably feels that he's got to be there to protect you.
Protective mode. He is.
Yeah, he is. So tell me about you spoke about your eating disorder. So and then you've talked about your marriage and stuff. How do you feel? Do you feel that society has accepted you now? Like you're saying about your journey, about you know, you're accepting yourself now more because you've got rid of the arm and everything. How do you feel? Do you feel that you fitted in, or you still feel that you feel like you're still away from that?
That's a really good question. You know, when you say, do you feel society has accepted you now? And the honest truth is, I've realised, I've come to realize, it's not about other people. It's about me accepting myself. And until I don't fully love myself, accept myself, that is the key to it. Because whilst I've been on this journey, and you know, you do have triggers and ups and downs on it. And even though I've come so far, about a month ago, something really triggered me. I was in this environment around older Asian people again. And I haven't been in that environment for so long because I've, you know me, I've been on this amazing journey away from all of that. And an old man who's probably close to 100, you know, so, you know, I was standing there around my family, and you know, he's family as well, and he said, "Bodda, come here," in Punjabi. He was talking in Punjabi, and he was so intrigued by my arm. And you know, that generation, they'll just say it how it is. There's no filters, okay? And you know, he was saying to me, "Oh, it looks like a foot. It doesn't look like a hand," and you know, asking me all these questions, and I froze. I froze in that moment because I think the childhood trauma kicked in because I haven't been used to that environment.
Oh, you've never had that conversation?
For so long.
Yeah.
I think the child in me, it triggered something. And then another lady said, "Come here." So it almost got to this place where I'm been, you know, posted from here to here, and everyone was like, "Let's look at your arm." And I felt like I was being exposed and a little bit violated, even though there was no malice, there was no bad intent. I remember running to my car after, and I just cried. I cried so much, and that's what made me realise that with this journey, sometimes you go, you know, you're always healing, but there's always more work to be done. So on the back of that, I thought, what is it? What has triggered me? Because I thought I've come so far in it, and I realised there's still a part of me, the child in me, because when I was young, and I would have had that same interactions, I never cried. And I think it was a bit of release still coming out, because now I can really tap in to how I'm feeling, and I don't suppress it. And that those emotions had to come out.
No, of course. So the child within you
Yeah.
has still not dealt with
No.
or accepted what's going on with you.
Accepted it.
Yeah.
So it was
So
almost
it's all about acceptance.
Yeah.
So you haven't accepted it internally yourself.
No.
And like you're still going through a journey. I mean, how old are you? I don't know.
I'm nearly 40 now.
Yeah. So within like 40 years, you're still accepting it. What you take, like I said earlier, you take 10 steps forward, and then one thing triggers you.
Yeah.
And then you said something about, I know your mom's passed away.
Yeah, she
you said
has.
you wrote a letter to
I
her.
did,
Yeah.
because I thought, what is the final piece? It might not be the final piece,
Yeah.
but another stage into the self-love. And I thought, I need to write a letter to Mum, because she's no longer here
Yeah,
now.
I know.
So in this letter, what I said to her was, you know, me and my mum had the most amazing connection, because I always said she was the only person who fully understood how I felt. You know, we had this
Did your father
unspoken...
never speak about it?
I think
Men don't,
do they?
Indian
I
men
think
don't. They're
they
like,
don't.
oh, mum
No,
can't learn gay.
no.
You know, the mum will sort it out.
My mum felt my pain. We may never have spoken about it.
Do you think that's why your mum never spoke about it? Because your father didn't speak about it. You know, as parents, like a mum and dad would sit their child down and speak about it like we do today. But do you feel that because your dad didn't speak about it, do you think that's what stopped your mum
so
talking about it?
interesting.
Right, because then it would have made your mum more emotional,
Yeah.
and that bonding between you and her wouldn't be there, because she's supporting you. It sounds like she was the only one supporting you, because you've not mentioned your dad.
I don't talk about
I've
my
noticed
dad.
that. I've heard you on different podcasts and stuff. You never talk about your dad, because, like you said, Indian men just don't talk about it. They don't know about emotions.
And even when I've briefly recently maybe hinted or danced around the topic about my podcast, and I think he's surprised. He's like, "Oh, is that how you felt about your hand?"
Yeah.
I don't know. We've never sat there.
So do you talk about it now?
No.
Oh, really?
No, because when I chose to write that letter to my mum, I thought, why don't you just pick up the phone, speak to your dad, say the same things that you are going to say to your mum.
Yeah. Have you not felt that?
I thought, I can't do it. I don't know why.
What stops you?
I don't know. It's a really good question, but there is a block.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to sit my dad down and say, you know, Dad, this is how I felt growing up.
What's stopping you?
I really don't know. It's a big question. I'll have to go away.
No, go away and think about it. Yeah. We can edit it in after later anyway. Yeah.
But so I wrote that letter to my mum, and I just said to her, all I needed to hear, the child Sharon just needed to hear. Love yourself, go marry who you want, you know, don't be confined by what other people say. We love you, we accept you. I knew they loved me and accepted me, but sometimes as a child, you just need to hear it. Or maybe that's what I needed to hear at the time.
Did you get comfort? Did you get love? Did you get the affection?
I got all of that.
Yeah.
I got so much love. And it's interesting because I was daddy. So whilst me and my dad have never spoke about my disability, I'm always daddy's girl. Like compared to the other siblings, he's always treated me just with so much love, but without speaking about things, you know.
But that was probably his way of dealing with it. Like we said, like Indian men, they just don't talk about it.
It's probably his way of doing it.
Yeah,
even to
that
this
was
day,
how he's dealing with it.
I think even to this day, they've showed it in other ways. They always made sure I was fine in other ways. Probably their way of, you know.
Yeah, dealing with it. So then now, tell us what your journey is now. What did you become? How did you come over your fears?
I initially I qualified as a lawyer, you know, did the whole tick box Asian thing of going down that route, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled. I knew I had more to give. I knew my purpose in life was something different. And by going down that route of finding myself, accepting myself, I did that via fitness.
Yeah.
So after my mum passed away, I wasn't really in a good place. I turned to alcohol a little bit. You know, I have spoken about this openly before.
Sure.
And then I thought something needs to change. And I remember one January just getting myself a personal trainer, and that was it. I started working on my health, and it was helping my mind, and that started helping me with my whole body confidence. And then I just thought, I could change, I could help other people.
Yeah.
So I quit my legal job and I qualified as a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and that is what I do now. I'm a women's online fitness and nutrition coach.
Okay.
And the message I want to, you know, or I want to really empower other women is to just helping them overcoming challenges.
Sure.
No limitations.
Because of what you went through
Because of
yourself,
what I've
yeah.
been through myself, and even though I've got a disability, and I never thought I could go to the gym, and I never thought I could lift those weights.
Oh my God, I see some of your videos sometimes and I think, gosh, she can pick up so much weight. I can't believe how you do it.
I found
What motivates you?
just knowing how much fitness helped me through the darkest times of my life.
Okay.
Honestly, that is what
Eating and fitness.
losing my mum, other personal issues, other things I've gone through in my life. The one constant thing that's always been there is my fitness, because it helps. The muscle, the mind is a muscle. You need to train it.
Yeah.
So knowing how much fitness has helped my life, helped me overcome my own struggles, given me that resilience, that belief. That is why I'm so passionate to help other women. You know, Asian women, they don't prioritise themselves. And this is the message that I'm trying to spread out there, that, you know, by looking after your health and well-being, you know, you can create a new identity for yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so and you've helped a lot of women. I've seen your videos, your before and after. How do they feel talking to you? When they meet you first time, how do they feel?
So I always ask women, like, what attracted you to, you know, come to me?
Sure.
And a lot of them say, which is so lovely, is the resilience. They said that you have that kind of mindset that you can overcome anything. And they said they want to be coached by someone who has that mindset, because a lot of my women struggle. They're busy mums, they're juggling so many things, they're working, they're trying to look after their health, their children, their husband, their families. But with my program, it's not just about fitness and losing weight. No, it's about your mental health, celebrating the wins, overcoming real life struggles. Because that's what
that's probably what they see when they see you. They think that you've been through so much. Do you share your journey with them? You share them,
and even
what you went through.
We do, and I share all the things with them. Even, you know, the experience I had 2 weeks ago, because I like to show them that I still have struggles. They have struggles, but we have to keep bouncing back, not suppressing it, dealing with it, addressing it. I really encourage them to journal. You know, all the things that I do in my life.
To write things down.
Yes.
Do you write things down?
I do every day.
Do you find that helps?
A lot.
Yeah.
That's how I now process my emotions. I journal every day. I do a daily gratitude list. That's what I'm getting my clients to do.
Okay.
And that's really helped my mindset a lot, focusing on gratitude. Every day, 10 things I'm grateful for and why.
Okay.
So now the way I see things is I feel so grateful about everything.
Oh, that's good. Do you feel that there's enough representation for South Asian people with disabilities in society?
Absolutely not.
What do you feel that you
Because,
lack?
you know, growing up, when I used to see shopping for Asian wear, I always thought I couldn't wear certain outfits because the models you see, no one looked like me. So that's been an amazing thing, using the platform, having so many opportunities to be able to model clothes and show other women.
Yeah, I've seen you've recently done some modelling as well.
So that's been, you know, that was one of my mum's dreams, actually, and I did it for her. And I think that's sending a message out there that there's no one size fits all. We all look different, and we need to embrace that.
Yeah.
So there's not been that representation that side. The fitness side, I've never really seen an Asian person with disability going out there, you know.
Do people do people stop and talk to you at the gym?
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I used to be conscious, but now I always think they're probably watching me because they're intrigued. And a woman come up to me not long ago, and she said, "I need to stop you." She said, "I watch you all the time," and she, you know, they just like to have that little chat with you.
Yeah.
What is your journey? And they find it really inspiring.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's
No, but
really
so
nice.
that, I suppose that helps you as well.
It does.
With your own healing.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, because now when people look at me, I've changed the narrative. It's not they're looking at me because they're, you know, pity me. I always think they look at me because I've probably inspired them in some way.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've seen you. You know, you've spoken about stuff. I love it, because for me, I find you so inspiring, because, you know, like that word, differently able.
Yes.
That is beautiful, because you are different. Yeah. You know, people are different. We're all different in different shapes, sizes, you know, ability, disability, whatever. You know, people who might have like a vision impairment, right? Everybody's different in their own way. But when you give back to society, how does that make you feel?
That's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
It's the messages I receive from women on my Instagram. You know, I get a lot of women who are going through cancer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who are struggling, and just to, you know, when I receive those messages, it always reminds me, if I'm ever having, you know, not a great moment, keeps me going. It helps me to think you're impacting someone's life out there today. Or someone will say, oh, we really love the footage you put out there. And I think, you know, sometimes you can get in your own head a little bit. And then I'll get that message and I'll think, keep posting these kind of videos because someone out there is watching you thinking, if she can do it, I can do it. And there's no excuse not to do it.
Because you drive and everything, don't you?
I drive. I always thought I couldn't drive, and my parents were really relaxed. They said, don't drive. And I thought, okay. But I'm so glad I learned to drive because this is all part of me getting independent. And this whole last year has been about me becoming even more independent.
And doing those things that you thought you couldn't do. So what have you done different that you never did before, now you're doing now, apart from driving? Because you've been driving for quite a while now.
12 years. I can do everything really, to most things. Some things, obviously, I can't, like, you know, I had to ask you to button my, or sometimes I panic about who's going to take my jewellery off or do my zip up. I can do shoelaces, I've made roti. I just find my own way of doing it. Or I ask for help. I've learned to ask for help now. Sometimes I'm in the gym and I can't
that's what I was going to
things.
say. Do you ever reach out to ask for help?
I do.
Who do you ask, like?
Family, my children, or if I'm in the gym, I can't always do things. So I'm like, hey, can you just help me? And everyone's so lovely.
How has your social life been with this? I mean,
how's it affecting my social?
Like, have you got friends that support you?
Oh, my friends are amazing. I've got a small circle of friends, a really strong foundation, and my family support me a lot as well. But I want to support myself more than anyone.
It's about you and your personal journey,
I really feel like before leaning on anyone, it's great to have that. I want to be, that's my goal by 40. I've set myself a goal. I truly want to get to that point.
You don't look your age. You look much younger.
Thank you so much. But that's my goal. Before then, to be fully in love with myself. And, you know, that's the goal.
So you're still on your journey.
Yes.
Okay. So do you find that people, like I said, we said earlier, like, do you still feel they pity you or they actually encouraged by you? I know we've spoken about this before in the conversation, but what is it that you want to give back to society? Like, what do you want? Like, if you had to speak to the audience today, or you know, people who are watching, on the show, how would you present yourself, and what would you want? What's the message you'd like to give to them?
My message to society is just please let's be kind to people, because you may look at someone or pity someone and think nothing of it, but it could be so much more lasting impact to that person who may be going through something that you just can't see. Even if externally they may seem fine, you never know what that person's feeling or their journey. So the message is, let's just please be kind and let's just accept everyone for who they are. I think that's the journey.
It is, it's true. It's like just like being accepted in society. You've talked about your childhood, speaking about, openly about how you felt, how your parents didn't discuss it. But you know, it's just been fantastic. Honestly, it's such a pleasure having you on the show, and I'm so happy that you shared that with us.
But thank you so much for having me, and I think it's so important that we have these discussions, and just to raise a bit of awareness, because there may be someone out there watching who's, like I said, not deliberately ever meant to cause any harm, but it may just get them thinking about how to interact with those with disabilities. So I think thank you so much for having me on today.
No, it's been a pleasure, honestly. It's like something we spoke about a few years ago, and today we're on that platform.
It's happened.
Yeah, it is, and I'm so glad that you're comfortable in talking about it. I mean, before the show, you were saying that you've got some emotions, and I'm glad you flew through it really smoothly and nicely. We giggled, we laughed. I know we have emotions, we have to cover things sometimes, but it's so important to discuss these things. And I love the fact that you're talking to your children about it, and it's beautiful. But thank you for being on the show. I'd just like to say to my viewers, thank you for watching the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure, but I just want to say one thing: you are differently able to do things. Doesn't matter what your disability, doesn't matter what you're made of, shape, size or colour, creed, anything, you can fit in. You just got to start loving yourself and accepting yourself and knowing that you are worth something. And if you can make a difference to somebody in your life just by reaching out, or just even a message, or even like a small video of how you're feeling, somebody could reach out to you, talk about it, get help, and speak about other people, and discuss these things, because there is help out there. Just reach out. Thank you for watching Chit Chat Chai Show. I'm Rani, and thank you again, Charanjit, for joining me today. Thank you.